Hey everybody, Sean from Media Assault here, and today I wanted to do a review of a movie that I've been wanting to review for quite some time, but it has just sort of been kind of difficult to set aside a large enough block of time to watch this film and then review it. And that movie is the Deluxe Extended Edition of the 2005 version of King Kong. That's a mouthful. I actually picked this up on DVD probably over a year ago and just now got around to watching it. Now, I saw the original version of the film in the theater when it came out in late 2005. I actually went to see it twice, once by myself and then I took a friend. When I saw this sitting on the shelf, I really was kind of divided about whether I should pick it up or not because the movie's long enough as it is. And I'm like, oh, I'm not a real big fan of extended editions if they're not really going to add anything to the film. And I'll let you know whether or not I think the extensions to this film, of which there are about 13 minutes of additional footage, do anything for the movie. But first, we'll take a look at the actual package. Now, I bought this used, so I'm not 100% sure if this is totally complete, but it looks to be. It does come with a slipcover here, which does open up. And it's got a whole bunch of stuff about what's actually on the DVD. It says all new extended motion picture, more action, more creatures, more Kong. That is true. It's got a feature commentary with Peter Jackson. There's a gag reel, which I haven't watched yet. A whole bunch of stuff on how they made the special effects. Just a whole bunch of stuff. And it says 38 minutes of deleted scenes. And from what I understand, obviously not all those deleted scenes have made it back into the extended edition. Because there is only 13 minutes of additional footage in the actual extended edition. So here's the DVD. Oop. And this happened before the discs like to pop out. So I'm not a real big fan of the way this is packaged, but got a little paper booklet here, and this sort of has a map to everything that's on the disc. And the movie itself is actually spread over 2 discs, which I'm not a real big fan of. You're watching the film like I did tonight, and halfway through you have to get up and put the second disc in. It sort of felt like the old days. Like I remember watching The Right Stuff on VHS, and that came on 2 VHS tapes that when you rented it, they were rubber banded together. I don't know. Anyway, so this is a map to everything that's on there. Obviously, I'm not going to go through everything that's on the discs, but there's a lot of stuff. And you can see there are 3 discs. 1, 2, and disc 3. This disc 3 is mostly all features. The actual movie spread over the first 2 discs. There are also commentaries and other things that are on the first 2 discs as well. And then behind the discs here in the artwork, you've got a reproduction of the Skull Island map from the movie, which is pretty cool. And these keep wanting to pop off here, so hopefully they won't do that again. The original version of this film was released on DVD in March 2006. This one came out in November of 2006. Now, like I said, there's about 13 minutes of additional footage on the new version. And I was actually able to tell the new scenes when they came on. They're significant enough that you remember, or you could tell the difference between the 2 versions. And I haven't seen the original for about 5 years, so for me to be able to tell the difference, they're significant. The main additions would be a swamp scene where the guys who are going after Anne, who's obviously been taken by the ape. And if I have to explain the plot of King Kong to you at this point, turn the video off, because I'm not going to get into the plot of King Kong, really. But like I said, the main additions are there's a swamp scene where the guys that are going after Anne Darrow after she's been captured by Kong, they build 2 rafts. They set out across this swamp on the island, and they're attacked by these sort of eel piranha things, which are pretty cool. They're CGI, of course, as is probably 99% of this movie. but it's a really good scene, and it's very long. It's probably about 6-7 minutes long. There's also a encounter with a Triceratops type creature just after the guys go out to look for Anne. The first thing they come in contact with is this Triceratops, and I don't believe that's in the original film. And then there's some very minor additions to the chase on the island after Anne's been rescued and Kong is trying to get Anne back. You see some different scenes added there, and then when they get to New York, there are some additions to the chase in New York City. The chase additions on the island and in New York, they're very minor, but they're still kind of interesting. And there was actually one cut that was made. There was actually a reduction to a scene for continuity's sake. I won't say what it is, but it's kind of interesting that there's enough of a difference between the two versions that they actually had to edit the scene to have it make sense. So that's pretty cool. As far as the film goes, now I'll review the actual movie, which I haven't reviewed yet. And like I said, I'm not going to explain the plot. Again, if you need King Kong explained to you, you shouldn't be watching this video. But as far as the 2005 version of King Kong, I've already reviewed the original 1933 version of King Kong, which is obviously a classic and well worth your time, no matter what your age. The 1976 version of King Kong is a favorite of mine only because of the nostalgic reasons. Admittedly, it's not the greatest film in the world, but I like it. This is head and shoulders above the 1976 version. It does not beat the original version of King Kong in any way, shape, or form. But what it is it's a very loving homage to the original movie. There are several nods to the original, and if you actually look this movie up on Wikipedia, you can see there are several references. I think there's like 6, 7, 8 references to the original King Kong in here, whether it be dialogue or musical cues or just little tips of the hat to Fay Wray and Marion C. Cooper. Just a lot of cool stuff. And I like that about it. I like that it's got that sensibility to tip the hat to the original film. And I know Peter Jackson was incredibly inspired by the original King Kong, and that's why he wanted to remake it, put his own touch on it. But it's not a perfect homage, but it is a very good one. I also like the way Kong looks in this film. He was done with CGI, and Andy Serkis, who is well known for his work in the Lord of the Rings movies as Gollum, he also was the CGI actor for that particular, like the motion capture actor for Gollum in the Lord of the Rings movies. He's also the motion capture actor for Kong. He also appears as Lumpy in the film. He's great. Kong looks great. The CGI on him is fantastic. And the performances of the three main actors, Naomi Watts as Ann Darrow, Adrian Brody as Jack Driscoll, and Jack Black as Carl Denham, they're all really, really good. I like all three of them. Jack Black, I'm not a big fan of his, but he's suitably crazed in this film, and I think he does a really good job. Adrian Brody, he's always dependable and very good. He's excellent. And Naomi Watts, sometimes she's good, sometimes she's not. Here, she's really on top of her game. So I do enjoy those aspects of the film. What do I not like about this movie? There are too many chase scenes in this film. Everything has to be huge and overly busy. The CGI in some scenes is kind of suspect. Just some scenes just scream that they're computer generated, and it's one of the things I don't like about CGI. When it works, like when it works for King Kong in this film, it's fantastic, and I'm talking generally my feelings about CGI. When it works and it's done well and it's seamless, I'm all for it. It looks great, fantastic. If you had to use a computer to create something that couldn't be done any other way, more power to you. Love it. When it looks bad, it can ruin a film. It can take you out of the whole suspension of disbelief. Here, it doesn't quite do that, but it comes really close several times. In the first hour or so of the film, before King Kong even appears, there are several shots of the boat going through the ocean, and there are some shots of New York in the 30s. Obviously, this takes place in the 1930s. They just look computer generated, almost to the point of being cartoony, and that bothers me. And there's another way you can look at this film and kind of reference it with the other two versions of King Kong to kind of give you some idea of how this one has to be over the top all the time. In the first King Kong, the 1933 King Kong fights one T-Rex or Allosaurus, whatever it is. You know, he fights it and he beats it, and that's one of the climactic scenes. In the 1976 version of King Kong, Kong fights a rubber snake, for lack of a better way to explain it. So that gives you an idea of the quality of that film. In the 2005 version of King Kong, Kong fights not one, not two, but three computer-generated V-Rexes, which are like T-Rexes, but they have bad dental work. And that's just sort of typical of this movie. It takes what's come before it and multiplies it by 3. And sometimes that's okay, but sometimes it's to the film's detriment. It's sometimes overly busy. Even the the monumental Empire State Building scene, Ann Darrow has to be in danger and Kong has to rescue her in that scene. I mean, that doesn't happen in the original. Why does it have to happen here? They just try to cram too much stuff into every scene, and that gets kind of old after a while. And especially in the extended version, just because it seems like it's just CGI, chase, CGI, chase. Again, it starts to take away from the film. Doesn't ruin the film by any stretch of the imagination, but it just injures it. And just about this particular edition, one criticism I have, which I've already mentioned, is that the movie is split over 2 discs. Just takes you out of the element while you're watching it. You know, hey, the adventure continues on disc 2. Oh, great, I have to get up and switch the discs. I'm from a time when you used to have to get up and change the channel manually, so it's not that I'm, completely alien to that. It's just, I like to sit down and really get into a film, and if something like that comes along, it kind of takes you out of it. Minor quibble, but still, it's just something I think they could have done differently. Maybe they did it because they didn't want to compress the film too much and fit it on one disc, and because it is so long, and I can understand that if they wanted to preserve the image quality. If that's the excuse, I'm all for it. So if I had to rate the 2005 version of King Kong, the extended edition, I would give it an 8 out of 10. For all of the things I've complained about, it's still an incredibly enjoyable movie. Like I said, Kong looks fantastic. I like the fact that it's an updated version and can continue to introduce the whole King Kong mythos, or however you want to put it, to younger audiences, but it can't hold a candle to the original. The original is a 10 out of 10, always will be, and it always has been. This particular edition, if you can find it, I would recommend picking it up, just because of the complete, just immense amount of extended edition material on here, just to give you an idea of some of the stuff that's on here, and then I'll wrap this up. Like I said, there's 38 minutes of deleted scenes, a feature commentary with Peter Jackson, the gag reel, recreating the Eighth Wonder, the making of King Kong, which is a behind-the-scenes featurette, Return to Skull Island, creating the mythical world of Skull Island, The Present, an original short film made by the cast of King Kong, original computer animated storyboards of Kong's action sequences, the video galleries, which are hundreds of works of brilliant conceptual King Kong artwork, and the 2005 and the 1996 scripts for the film, because it was written once and then they scrapped that script and rewrote it for the 2005 version. So that's all on here. And like I said, I picked this up for $8 used, So I think I got a great deal. You know, your mileage may vary as far as the price because I don't think this is in print anymore. I am probably going to upgrade this to the Blu-ray edition, which does feature both the theatrical and extended cuts on the Blu-ray. But I will hang on to this just because this is a really cool package. So there you go. There's my rather long-winded review of the 2005 Deluxe Extended Edition of King Kong. So thanks again for watching, everybody. And it looks like I hit 200 subscribers today. So the 200 subscriber giveaway video should appear shortly. So hang on for that. And if you want to make sure that I hit 200 subscribers to get that online even faster, just make sure to click the subscribe button above. And as always, comment and rate as well. So thanks again, everybody, and take it easy.